Today, I want to tell you the story of a woman named Yulia. And her story, well, it's this quiet, daily battle for a better future. It's a really powerful look at resilience, a mother's incredible love, and, what it really means to find your purpose when it feels like the whole world is stacked against you.
So, let's just start with this one sentence because it's really the heart of her entire story. It was abandonment and humiliating, but what choice did she have? That feeling, that sense of being wronged, of an unjust injury, that is something Yulia knows all too well. We're going to unpack what got her to this point and see how she fights back. And it's not with anger, but with this just relentless determination.
All right, Section 1, A Day in the Life. To really get who Yulia is, you've got to see what she goes through every single day. So let's dive into her exhausting daily routine.
I want you to just picture this for a second. Your alarm blares at 4:30 in the morning. It's pitch black outside, it's cold, it's probably raining. Then you get on a bus for a solid hour all the way across the city, only to get off and then walk for another half an hour to your job. And this isn't just a bad day, right? This is her reality. Every single day.
And here's where you really see the two different worlds she lives in. She's arriving on foot in the dark to clean an empty office. And then, a few hours later, the office workers start rolling in. They pull up in their nice, shiny cars, all fresh and ready to start their day. It's such a stark contrast, right? It's like they're living in a completely different universe from her pre-dawn reality.
So, how does she cope with this? Well, she has this little mental game she plays. She focuses on one particular woman, about her age, who drives this shiny red car. And in her mind, she builds this whole life for her. A life with a great husband, loving parents, a job people respect. And this little daydream, it's not just some escape. It's basically a blueprint of everything she desperately wants. Security, feeling valued, and, of course, love.
All right, Section 2, Alone Against the World. So that feeling of being so isolated, where does that come from? To really get to the heart of Yulia's struggle, we have to go back. We need to look at her past, at the experiences that basically forged this belief that, at the end of the day, she is completely and truly on her own.
Okay, remember that Russian word from the very beginning? Обидно. This word is so important. It's not just feeling sad or, being offended. It's something deeper. It's that sting of deliberate disrespect. Like, Yulia has had jobs where people would literally throw trash on the floor right in front of her, almost to say, "You're just the cleaner, pick it up." It's that feeling of being made small, on purpose, and for no good reason.
And this right here is the absolute key to understanding her. Yulia has zero safety net. None. She grew up in an orphanage, which means no parents to call, no grandparents, nobody to help out in a crisis. And that reality fuels her single biggest fear. What if something happens to me? Will my daughter end up in an orphanage just like I did? So that tiny one-room apartment she has, it's more than just a home. It's her fortress, her cozy nest against all the storms of life.
In this quote, this is basically her mantra. It was just the two of them, Yulia and Verotchka, against the whole world. And for her, that's not her complaining. It's just a statement of fact. Every single decision she makes, every sacrifice, every ridiculously early morning, it all comes back to this one core belief. It's just the two of them.
Okay, Section 3, The Man Who Left. So there is this one time, just for a little while, that Yulia thought maybe she wouldn't have to be alone forever. She met a guy who seemed like he could change everything. But as it turned out, he ended up being the source of her deepest, most painful heartbreak. She met him in college. His name was Max, and Max was, he was everything Yulia wasn't. He was cheerful, witty, confident, smart. He came from a family, he had connections, he had a plan, the army, then university, then a career. For Yulia, who really only had her own determination to rely on, he looked like the very picture of security. He seemed like a real man with a future.
And he knew just what to say. He told her, "You're real, not like the others. That's why I'm drawn to you." I mean, can you imagine? For a young woman who had pretty much spent her whole life feeling invisible, hearing those words, it was like a magic spell. He made her feel seen, maybe for the very first time.
And things moved really fast after that. They met at a party where he gave her all this attention. Then came the first kiss, and she felt genuinely happy, loved, desired. Before she knew it, he had moved into her apartment. Now, this was the apartment she'd been given by the state because she was an orphan. And yeah, it turns out that was his real motive all along.
He just wanted a free place to live, away from his parents.
So, about 6 months in, Yulia discovers she's pregnant. And her first feeling? Just pure joy. She's going to have a baby, her own family. She runs to tell Max, expecting him to be just as happy. But his reaction, it was not what she hoped for. First, shock. Then, that shock turned into straight-up anger. He demanded she get an abortion and basically denied he had anything to do with it.
Think about this. The very first word he used to describe their child was, "What a misunderstanding." Not a baby, not a surprise, a misunderstanding. Just the sheer coldness of that word, it just cut her to the core. It reduced this brand new life to nothing more than an inconvenient little mistake.
And then he laid it all out. Don't count on me. I'm against the child. He made it absolutely clear. He told her not to expect a thing from him. He even threatened her, saying his family had connections if she dared to try and get any kind of support. And just like that, he packed his things and was gone. For good.
Okay, Section 4, a mother's promise. Now, a betrayal like that, it honestly could have broken anyone. But for Yulia, it did the opposite. It lit a fire inside her. The very child that drove Max away became her one and only, unwavering purpose in life.
And this is Verichka, her 10-year-old daughter, an excellent student, a smart little girl, and she is the reason for everything. She's why Yulia gets up at 4:30 in the morning. She's why she puts up with the humiliation. She's why she cleans for 10 hours a day. Verichka is her whole world.
Yulia is literally counting down the years. 8. That's how many more she has to go until Verichka is an adult. And she doesn't see it with dread. She sees it as a mission. 8 more years of this grind to get her daughter across the finish line, to get her to a place of safety and independence that Yulia never ever had.
And make no mistake, Yulia's dream for her daughter isn't just about survival, it's about success. She's determined for Verichka to get a higher education, to have a real qualified profession. It's like all the potential that Yulia felt she lost in her own life. She is pouring every ounce of it into making sure her daughter's future is different.
I mean, look at this. Yulia's own work history is just this cycle of tough, low-paying jobs. Cleaner, salesperson. She actually got fired from that for being too honest. Janitor. Right now, she's cleaning at 3 different places, working 10 hours a day. But her hope for Verichka, it's a total break from that cycle. She wants her to be a qualified professional, to build a life with her mind, not with a mop.
All right, our final section, the dream for tomorrow. So, when you step back and look at Yulia's whole life, what's the real story here? Yeah, it's easy to just see the hardship for sure, but there's something so much deeper, so much more profound going on.
And this is really the heart of it all. Yulia's story is not a story of defeat. It's not about being a victim. She absolutely could have let that betrayal define her, but she didn't. Instead, she chose to be defined by this fierce, powerful love for her daughter. And that love is what transforms all that daily hardship into something with a profound purpose.
Which leaves us with this final, big question. Yulia's own happiness, her own dreams, they seem to be completely on the back burner, replaced by her dreams for Verichka. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? How much of a life is built not on the dreams we have for ourselves, but on the dreams we hold for others?